Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformation. Here is your host, Sean Douglas.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever it is that you are listening. I want to welcome you to one of the last two episodes of Life Transformation Radio of the year 2019. So thank you so much for joining us. I am your host, Master Resilience Implementer, TEDx speaker, business positioning strategist, and international best-selling author, Sean Douglas. This show is currently heard in over 74 countries. So whether it's your first time joining us or you've been listening to us for some time, I want to thank you to those who are listening from around the world. Life Transformation Radio is all about our transformation. Here, we tell the stories of why we're doing what we're doing. We highlight that transformational moment that changed our lives and how we use it to then transform others and elevate their lives as well. You can listen to us live right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network, Tuesday through Friday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Join our Facebook group, Life Transformation Radio Community, and never miss an episode by subscribing wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. Life Transformation Radio can be heard on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Player FM, Radio Public, Overcast, Castbox, the Himalaya app, the Google Play Music app, and now we are available on Pandora. And here is a word from our end-of-year sponsor.
Hello, everyone everywhere. This is Bob Thibodeau with the Kingdom Crossroads podcast, and you are listening to Life Transformation Radio with my good friend Sean Douglas. Be sure to subscribe to his podcast so you will not miss any of the upcoming episodes, and be blessed in all that you do.
On the show, my guests are entrepreneurs, speakers, business owners, podcasters, authors, basically amazing human beings that are impacting the world around them. And my guest today has done exactly that. If you have any questions for any of the guests that I bring on the show during our live broadcast, call us up at 657-383-1109. Again, the number is 657-383-1109. And with that, it is my honor to welcome to the show Marcus Bird. Marcus, welcome to Life Transformation Radio.
Thank you, Sean. It's great to be here.
I am super pumped, man. Tell everybody where you're calling in from.
I am calling in from sunny and very hot Melbourne, Australia. It's been incredibly hot down here.
Everybody in the United States is like, what? What?
Yeah, I know. We're right in the middle of summer, and we've just come off the back of some incredibly hot weather and lots of bushfires, unfortunately.
Yeah, I heard about that. Do you think it's mind-blowing to some people that when we think of Christmas, there's a lot of Christmas songs about white Christmas and all that, but here you guys are sitting at the beach, it's like super hot, and you're like, yep, never going to see one of those.
Yeah, it is quite bizarre, and it's great to come to the Northern Hemisphere and have a white Christmas. It's a bit of a treat for us and pretty special. But yes, we're here on the beach and relaxing in the heat.
Yeah, for me, growing up in one way, and how my mindset is, it would be completely backwards. It would just be like, I cannot even fathom snow in July and hot in December and January and February.
Yeah.
Like from what I know about seasons, it is literally the exact opposite in Australia. I'd have to see it, but I hear it's different when you go down there. It's just a whole different kind of world.
Yeah. It is really different. And, thankfully when I was younger, I felt the same way about the opposite, right? About, Christmas, it's snow and cold and, and white. That makes no sense at all. And then being in the Australian ski team, I got to spend years in winter. I never had a summer for years, so I had lots of Christmases in the snow, and I really got the feel of it and really loved it. It's definitely a different feel.
For sure. And I think that's awesome that you're calling in from Australia. Got a very big following on the show from Australia, so very, very cool. The title of this episode
Excellent.
is The Art of Making Shift Happen with Wellness Futurist Marcus Bird. As a wellness futurist, momentum expert, and peak potential coach, Marcus helps wellness business owners, subject matter experts, and entrepreneurs to build thriving companies and thriving lives. After helping thousands of people globally, Marcus noticed that those that thrive crave success. As the owner of Wellness Leadership Academy and with over 35 years experience in business, Marcus helps audiences to reignite their desire to want to make success happen fast. He has a Master's of Entrepreneurship and Innovation, Diploma of Health Sciences, and is a qualified results coach, positive counselor, and kinesiologist. Marcus has been an international downhill ski racer, private pilot, and runner-up in the International Business Planning Awards. Marcus guarantees you that he will reignite a part of you that you have lost or might not have even known you have. You will move faster than the speed of disbelief, break through your terminal velocity of success, and embrace the power of possibility to make success happen. As author of the 3-Minute Coach, Marcus shows you how to pop an insight to achieve success and build the greatest business and life possible. His website, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn are right there in the show notes. Connect with him, send him a message, and let him know that you heard his episode of Life Transformation Radio. Marcus, the first question that I have to ask, and I believe is the most important question that we could ever ask ourselves, is why? Why do you do what you do?
Why do I do what I do? I think I have this crazy burning desire to really want to live life on purpose. Every moment possible and experience everything that life has to offer. Through a whole lot of various experiences I've had, I've certainly realized that disconnection is absolutely rife, and so for me, the reason I do what I do is to, apart from the obvious family, stuff and building a life for my family, it really is about living life on purpose.
Living life on purpose. And what does that mean for you to live life on purpose? I feel like success, living a life of abundance. I mean, you could literally, you could probably literally be subjective in every single thing nowadays. It means so many different things to people. My version of success is if I set out a goal and I achieve said goal, I'm a success.
Yeah.
A lot of times what we hear in business is that, well, if you don't have $1 million business, then you're not successful. Well, some people are perfectly happy of having a $500,000 a year business.
Absolutely.
They don't need $1 million. So talk to us about what that means.
Yeah, I think success for me is measured by not by wealth and how much money you have in the bank necessarily, and for some it is, and that's absolutely fine. I think for me it's about depth of connection and how the people around you and how they respond to you and how you respond to them, and at a deep level it's about care. And so, success for me is the depth of, care that you can provide and give and receive, and really that, that depth of connection. I think when you do that really well, money is a byproduct of it, and I that's what I often consider when I'm talking to people in business and helping them to, grow a business. It's money is a byproduct of what you're doing. It's not necessarily the main focus of what you're doing. If you're out there sharing your magic with the world, if you're out there connecting deeper with people and helping others to live a life on purpose, or helping others to move to to wellness, then I think that's success.
I love it. Absolutely Love that, man.
Yeah.
Well, the show is all about transformation, and I believe there's a lot of transformational moments that happen in our lives that direct our steps, that change our beliefs. And with each transformational moment, we grow through those moments.
Yeah.
So talk to the audience about one of your transformational moments that literally puts you on the path to what you're doing today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the most profound transformational moment I had, which was actually a 2-year moment rather than one astounding moment in time.
That's awesome.
It was a 2-year transformational moment. And it was probably the worst experience yet the best experience in my life. And so I was, like a lot of people, I was a corporate Jedi. I was climbing the corporate ladder, and I had a really great job working for a national company as a national manager of many staff, and I traveled a lot around the country, and I remember one day sitting in my corner office, being very proud of myself at how well I was doing. I had the right European sports car in the garage. I had the right wife. I lived in the right suburb. I had all the right friends. I had the right job. Everything was perfect. However, I realized everything was perfect based on someone else's opinion of what perfect was, which is my father, right? Everything was perfect based on my parents' expectation. And I sat in my desk one day, and I think I got so proud of myself and so egotistical that I even put my feet on the desk. I leant back and I said, look at me, look at how good I'm doing. And something hit me in that moment. And I put my hand on my heart and I said, there has to be more than this. And 2 weeks later, I gave myself chronic fatigue syndrome. And after many doctors, took copious quantities of blood and, continually came up with the same response, which is nothing's wrong with you. You just need to rest. And every time I rested, I got worse and worse and worse, and to the point where I could no longer work anymore. And I can remember coming home that day, the last day of my job, not because I didn't want to work in the job, not because I didn't want to do that, but because I couldn't. I physically couldn't and emotionally couldn't do it. And I remember walking in the house, and up until this moment, I'd been a pretty manly sort of man. I didn't cry a lot. I didn't connect with emotions a lot. And I walked into the house, and I think I cried probably for 5 or 6 hours straight.
Wow.
Because all of a sudden my dream, what I thought was my dream, what I thought was my destiny, it had vanished, had been taken away from me. And so after a very short period of time, I realized that the only person who was going to heal me was me, and I had to start going on a journey of self-discovery. And that was a journey of discovery of who am I, what am I here for, what is all this really all about, what's, and especially what's my illness about. And initially I was like, well, no one can heal me, no doctor can heal me, so what can I do? And really at the time, the only thing I could do was meditate, because I couldn't watch television. I couldn't speak to anyone on the phone. I couldn't go outside my house. I barely could get out of bed. And so I meditated for hours and hours and hours every single day, and just started on this incredible healing journey.
Wow. Very cool, man. Thank you so much for sharing that. I get those healing journeys, and there's been so many times where I've talked to somebody and I said, well, what do you think was that moment? And it always starts so low. It always starts with, there I was. I don't think anybody says, well, I built $1 million business because I had a 6-figure business and I decided to go to 7 and I was doing so well that it's always, there's a theme, right? We're transformed in the lowest moments of our life. But so many people want to run from those. And I tell people to grow from those. Don't run from those. Grow from them. Don't just go through a moment. Grow from it.
Yeah, I agree. I love that. I think that's brilliant. I think it's really brilliant. I think, as part of that, it's about really connecting in with the moment. What is this here to teach me? And that's what I had to do. I had to dive deeply into that horrible question of what is this here to teach me? What am I here to learn from this experience? And how can I take, suck the marrow out of this moment, even though it's a horrible moment, even though it's extremely painful. I was frustrated, depressed in moments because I couldn't do the things normally could do. I couldn't operate as a normal human being. But I had to make that decision to go, okay, I need to take the most out of this experience, learn what this is about for me. That's the only way I'm going to heal.
So there was a lot of depression, a lot of work that needed to be done. That's what I got out of that. I heard depression. I heard.
Yeah, I think, I had a lot of anxiety and I wasn't clinically depressed per se, but not being able to do the things that a normal human being can do, socialize, watch television, listen to the radio, talk to friends, go out of your house, like actually leave the house, gets you into a depressive state, a lot of doctors along the way wanted to give me antidepressants and things like that. And I was like, no, that's not, I know why I'm depressed, not that there's anything wrong with that. Obviously, if that's needed, that's needed. But for me, it was like, I know why I'm depressed and I know sort of the journey I'm on with that. And I was probably more sad, frustrated, and concerned more than anything. And I think that leads to that feeling of being sad, right? And we can call it depression, but I don't think I was clinically depressed, and I don't want to sort of upplay it because, depression is obviously a very serious, it can be a very serious issue. But I was definitely sad.
Yeah, for sure. So the title of the episode, and after that transformation, is The Art of Making Shift Happen. So how did Marcus Bird make shift happen?
I think if we're sitting there and we have a desire, so in that moment I had a desire to be well, right, to be functional again as a normal human being. And I think when we have a desire to change our environment or to move from one place to the other, we have to shift a whole lot of things, or we have to shift our position. So physically we have to shift, and mentally we have to shift, and emotionally we have to shift. So we have to move to make something else happen, because what helped us to get here today is not going to help us to get there tomorrow. And whether that's going from chronic fatigue, sickness to wellness, whether it's going from a $200,000 a year business to a $2 million a year business, something has to change. Shifts have to happen. Otherwise, it's happen. So, of habit to a large degree, and the habits that got us to here in this moment, even for you and I right now, are not the habits necessarily that are going to get us to the moment maybe we want to be at. Whatever that dream desire is for someone, we have to. So I think for me, there were three key things that helped me to shift. The first is I had to get really aligned with me and where I was wanting to head, right? So get really deeply connected with the desire and with, firstly with myself and who am I, and then to follow where that took me. The second was to then believe that I was good enough, worthy enough to actually have that shift or make that shift happen. And the third thing is that I had to really crave the result. I had to really want that result to happen. And I really had to, have a deep desire, conviction to want to make that thing happen. And I think, a lot of the time we don't. I see a lot of people who come to me to say, "Hey, Marcus, I want to create a different reality in my business, in my life," because a lot of the things we do is help people to create a lifestyle and to create a business that wraps around their lifestyle, not a lifestyle that wraps around their business. And I think,
that's huge.
Yeah.
Say that again, because I got chills, my man. I got chills. You said a lifestyle, not a lifestyle around the business. Say that again, because I was like, I got chills just listening to that.
So the key is to develop a business that wraps around your lifestyle, not a lifestyle that wraps around your business. Because I think when we go to work in the corporate land, right, when we go to work for someone else, we tend to have to wrap our lifestyle around the work, right? So we've got to go, work from 9 till 5. We get a couple of weeks holiday a year, and we have to wrap our lifestyle around those parameters. Yep. And I think for me, that's not life. that's doing what you have to do, and that's absolutely perfectly okay. But I think what we want to do, especially if you go into business, because I think a lot of people go from sort of corporate land and they go, wow, I'm going to go and start my own business because I've seen a whole lot of cool videos on YouTube and it's really easy. I'm going to go and do it. Or in my case, you have a life-changing experience, right? And you retrain, right? So I retrained in wellness and obviously then went out and started my own wellness business. But I think a lot of people go out and start a business thinking that, oh, wow, I'm going to have a whole lot of freedom. It's going to be really amazing. It's going to be fantastic. And, I'm not working for the man or the woman any longer, and I'm not a slave to society. I'm going to have my own, create my own life. And what they end up doing is just buying another job, right? And again, they have to wrap their lifestyle around their business. And the crazy thing about it is running a business is often more time consuming, more stressful than going and working for someone else, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, the key is do the opposite. You've got to create a business that supports a lifestyle. And that's got to be one of the big shifts, right? That's got to be one of the first shifts, especially if you're running a business. If you're listening to the show and you're a small business owner, entrepreneur, the key focus has to be, creating a business that works for your life. One of the things I get people to do at the start of every year when they're planning their year is to place their holidays into the calendar first. Right? That's the very first thing they do is place your holidays, the time you want with the people you love the most, place that in your calendar first, then wrap everything around that or start to wrap everything around that.
Huh.
And I think that's the key.
Man, that blew my wig back. I'm going to tell you what, because think about it, how many people I'm literally like, oh my gosh, right now, how many people get so depressed. The business isn't working for them. Everything is going to crap. It's not working. It's oh man, and it just or you hear it takes up a lot of my time. Oh man, it takes up so much of my time. I didn't know it was going to take up so much time. How would I know this? Because you didn't wrap the business around the lifestyle.
You get carried away with
control of you.
And I think often people get carried away with making money and making ends meet. I think that distracts people a lot. And I get that it's important for sure. You have to make ends meet, right? You have to keep a house over your head. You have to do the things that you have to do. But I think we get, especially as men, I think men get carried away with the money aspect and focusing on the money. I know I have for sure. It's definitely one of the things I've been guilty of. And I think, I think the end of the year, it's really probably pertinent that we're doing this show right now, because I think at the end of the year, it's a really great time to sit back and recalibrate what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how you're doing it. And this is the realignment process I was talking about. The three things of, align, believe, and crave are circular. You've got to keep doing it because business can be all-consuming and can suck you into this sort of black hole void. And all of a sudden you wake up one day and you go, oh, my God, I just became a slave to my business. How did that happen?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, I remember my mom has been an entrepreneur over 10 years. I mean, she started off in the nursing field, and I remember a lot of the doctor's offices that she worked for, and she started off as a phlebotomist. She's the person that takes the blood and, at the doctor's office, whatever, and then became a nurse. And then as my sister went to college and I started getting into the military, my mom was like, I'm going back to school. I only got one kid left, so it wasn't, that big a deal. So it turns out that my mom decided to own her own business. My uncle, my aunt, my sister, we own our own businesses. We have a family of entrepreneurs. And I remember my mom would come on, air quote right now, vacation. My sister lives in South Carolina. I live in North Carolina. And she would come to visit us, and she'd bring half of her office, it seemed like, down. I'm like, what are you doing? She's I got some charts to do, and I got this to do. And I was like, well, we're going to go horseback riding, and we're going to go to the beach. And we're going to go, oh, yeah, you guys just go. I got to finish this up. I'm like, what is the point of coming here if you're just going to be on work? If all you're going to do is do charts and this, and this, and this, and this, what are you doing? And she ended up selling the business and then becoming a consultant because she created a home health care business. And in her first 2 years, she was the top 25 home health care business in Michigan.
Wow.
I think the first year, I think she was like top 20, I think was top 20, I think. Yeah. And then I know for a fact her second year, she was like 8 or 9. She was close to 10. In her second year, right? I mean, that's unheard of. And she's rivaling up against these other companies, but she does something differently than everybody else. Is she actually uses empathy and teaches the patient how to care for themselves while she's caring for them.
Nice.
She would teach them, hey, this is why I'm doing what I do. This is the needle. This is what this is. This is what's going to help. And this, if you do, and she would give them instructions. Call me anytime. Nice. I'm here for you, no matter what you need. And so she created a family network of nurses, and she was getting referrals like crazy.
Wow.
But she was the person who it took all of her time because she didn't want to hire out anybody. Like, Mom, you've got to hire people. You've got to hire more nurses. Nobody will do it like me. Nobody will do it like me. Bull crap. You've got to hire more people.
I know.
Hire office staff. If you don't hire anybody else, hire a marketer, hire an assistant, hire a secretary, hire someone to file charts. She never would. And then finally she hired 2 nurses and an assistant, and then boom, she was growing like crazy. And again, she tried to take more on. I said, nope, not no more. So then she ended up selling it, and now she's a consultant for home healthcare businesses, which she loves. So,
which is great.
Oh man, I tell you what, there's been times where she's like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night working on the business. I'm like, no.
Yeah. And I think, you've got to keep connecting into why, what's driving the behavior, right? Because I think, I think when you're looking to make shift happen, one of the things one of the abilities that you have to master is the ability to change perspective. And that's to be able to see things from a different angle. That question you asked your mum about, you've got to employ staff, or you've got to have, other people doing the doing so that you don't have to do as much. And her comment was, I can't do that because they won't do it as good as me. As a classic getting sort of caught in a state of being that doesn't allow expansion, doesn't allow shift to happen, right? What if? And the key question I get people to ask, because our brains tend to get a bit hardwired, even though they're elastic, they tend to get hardwired. And so when you ask someone a question, and they give you a dead answer, which is, I can't do that, that's not possible, or do you know what I mean? Which all they're saying is, I can't see the way, or I don't want to change, or whatever it is. One of the questions I find is really helpful to break through, because the brain is an incredible organ that is designed to solve problems, right?
Yep.
That's one of its primary purposes, is to solve an issue or a problem. But you've got to give it the right question to do that. If you don't give it the right problem to solve, it'll make problems, right? So the key question I get people to ask is, what if it were possible, right? So in your mum's case, it's like, okay, so you need to employ staff. No, I can't do that. Okay, stop for a second. Ask your brain the question, but what if it were possible? What if it were possible to employ staff and they were to do the same job, as good a job as you? What if that were possible? And what I find is the brain then starts on the track of solving the problem, right? And the problem is, what if it were possible? Wow, yeah, that's an interesting question. What if it were possible? And the brain starts giving you solutions around, well, okay, if it were possible, this could happen and that could happen. You could do this, you could do that. And all of a sudden, you start to change perspective. You start to shift the position that you're in, the place that you're in, and new things, new opportunities open up for you.
I was instantly, as I was internalizing and taking I said that, oh man, I really wish that would happen, and I don't know, and and it is going into 2020. I was talking to the wife, and I said, how awesome would it be? Because I've reached 10K months plenty of times in 2019.
Yeah,
I said, man, how awesome would it be to make 20K months multiple times in 2020?
Yeah.
How awesome would that be? And as you're sitting, and I told her, I was like, oh man, I'm going to have to work extra hard. I don't know. I got to check my systems. Got to make sure everything's fired on all cylinders. Like people sometimes are like, oh, you have to have a funnel. You're never going to make $1 million without a funnel. Well, I know plenty of people making money without funnels. You need this one thing. Nope. I know plenty of people that are making money without that one thing. So as you were saying this, and I asked myself internally in my head, I'm visualizing, I'm like, what if it happened? What if I was invoicing, and what if I was working? What if I was getting paid $20K months? And you know what happened? This was my reaction. I got goosebumps. And the hair stood up on the back of my head and on my neck, and my heart beat really fast. And it's almost the same reaction as you would get before you walk on stage. That excited nervousness, scared stuff. Or if you're watching a scary movie and you know damn well that scary guy, the killer, is in the closet and she's about to open a closet. You're like, don't open that. No. Right. And you're like, oh my God. Or that something scary is about to happen in the movie. You're like, oh my God. And you get that cringe face and the pillow goes over your eyes. You're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And you know what's going to happen. That is the feeling I got just now when you said, what if it happened?
Yeah. What if it were possible?
Yeah. What if it was possible?
What if it were possible?
Oh my gosh. I literally I don't know if it was a scared feeling. I don't know if it was a nervous, excited that would be possible for me. I don't not think that it's not possible for me. Like I think that would happen, but now I'm kind of questioning my beliefs. Like you always get that like the imposter syndrome. Like, am I good enough? Whatever. Like I already know I'm already way past imposter syndrome. I've already built 4 businesses. Yeah. I know I'm good enough.
Yeah.
But what would that look like? Is it possible? And I know how hard I've had to work to get consistent 10K months. I know how hard I've had to work.
Yeah.
Man, do I really want to work harder? Or maybe I just got to raise my prices. I don't know. Maybe it could be simple as raising my prices. But I don't know. I got excited, nervous, scared, like all at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. So the key is to ask, well, what if it were possible to make $20,000 months with ease and grace? Like, what if that were possible? What if the next $10,000, so from 10K a month to 20K a month, what if the next 10K was twice as easy as the first 10K? Right? What if that was your reality? Right?
I need to make that happen.
Yeah. So we step into that possibility, right? And this is where I talk about the power of possibility, is about stepping into that reality and being with that reality, right? Aligning yourself with that reality, believing that reality is absolutely possible and true, and then going out and crave that reality. Like, make that shit happen. Sorry, pardon my friend. Make that happen. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's about making that reality happen. And there's no reason why you can't. There are lots of people on the planet right now making millions of dollars a year, working a couple of days a week if you're lucky.
Sure.
Right? We're at the most incredible time in a commercial sense. Like, just incredible opportunities are right there in front of us to make extraordinary amounts of money with no qualifications, with no experience, with with barely anything. It's never been more possible now. And I think, there's been a really big journey and a big shift to put the power back into the hands of the people. Uber did that, for example. There's a whole lot of examples of the sort of power returning to the people. It's happening in wellness, right? Right now, it's incredible what's happening in wellness to return the power back to the people and take it out of, the hands of whoever. And I think that's what this is a bit about. It's about giving you the power to step into a life that you love, and that grows a business that supports your lifestyle.
Mm.
So
now how?
I hear.
Now the question is how.
And I take a stand for you making that 20K a month, while spending lots of time with your family. I think that's the key. And so one ability or skill that you're going to need to master is the ability to change perspective, which is to be able to see things from different angles. And this is where mentors and coaches and watching other people and seeing their reality helps, right? Because they can help change perspective and help you to achieve what you want to achieve. The other one other skill you've got to master is to overcome drag, right? Those things the self-talk that tells you can't, or it's not possible, or, again, we often get into these patterns. And I think one of the patterns a lot of men have is that, or a lot of people have, not just men, but a lot of people have, is that, to make $1, you've got to expend X amount of energy, right? There's this crazy equation that we've all bought into that says, 1 + 1 = 2, right? An hour of my time is worth, $100. That's how I make $100, right? So, whereas that's not true. The actual calculation is 1 + 1 can equal whatever you want it to equal. It doesn't have to do that. So sometimes we have to break out of that, and sometimes overcoming drag is about that belief system that, to be worthy of earning $20,000 a month, I have to bust my, backside to, and I have to expend 100 hours a week to make the 20,000. So overcoming drag is really about making sure that you're overcoming those belief systems, those thoughts inside your head, those things that tell you it's not possible, or it's only possible if you do a certain thing, right? And none of that's true. Then obviously change perspective. And the final one is to generate momentum. Yep, learn the skills of generating momentum, because that's the other key component here that's going to help you to go from 10K to 20K.
Got it. I like that.
Yeah. And I think all the while you've got to keep realigning with what's important to you. You've got to believe that it's truly possible, right? Not that it's possible to make 20K, because you believe that, right? You've run lots of businesses before. I think for you it's about believing you can do 20K only working X amount of hours, right? So that you've got the rest of the time to be with your family. That's the shift for you. I think that's the shift that needs to happen is that belief around how do I do the 20K without killing myself? And then really connecting deeply with the craving of making that happen. Not making 20,000 happen, but the craving of making 20,000 happen in the way you want to make 20,000 happen. That's the key, and we spend a lot of time as humans craving the wrong things. We're all caught up in craving the wrong things. And through my experience, and I've worked with thousands and thousands of small business owners, entrepreneurs, and I think, the one common denominator between those that really make it happen and those that, only get halfway there is how much they want it. Right? And I know this sounds simple and it might sound rude and offensive to some people, but I got to tell you, right? It's not 20,000, it's the way 20,000 appears, right? They crave that so deeply that it just can't not happen. Like, it just has to happen, right? It can't not happen. And I see that, whereas I see a lot of people say they want it, but they don't want it badly enough to do the things that they have to do to make it happen. I often share a story about Aaron Ralston. I'm sure you've probably heard the story of Aaron Ralston, who fell down a ravine and got his arm caught between a rock and, the ravine wall. And eventually, after 2 or 3 days, there was a whole movie about this, but after 2 or 3 days, he had to make the decision to cut his own arm off to survive.
Oh, yeah. Jason Franco played the guy who cut his own. Yeah.
Aaron Ralston was the guy's name.
Why does that sound so familiar?
Yeah, that's right. There was a whole movie on it. But he, and I know this is an extreme example, but he craved living, like he thought of his family and thought, I have to get out of here. He craved it so much that he cut his own arm off, right? So when I say to people, some people say to me, come to me and say, oh, Marcus, I want to make $1 million a year in wellness, doing my wellness magic and the thing I'd love to do. And I go, that's great. That's a really great ambition. But are you willing to cut your right arm off to have $1 million a year? And people go, no, I'm not. I go, okay, so what are you willing to do? Right? Because you might not actually have to cut your own arm off, but you are going to have to do certain things, right? It doesn't mean you have to work hard or long hours, but you're going to have to do certain things. You're going to have to overcome a mindset. You're going to have a mindset shift. You're going to have to have emotional shifts. You're going to have to, maybe change the way you do things. And people really don't like changing. Even though change is inevitable, right? Change is one of the only things we can be 100% sure of, that things will change. Things will definitely change.
And paying taxes.
Well, and paying taxes and debts, right? Let's not get too more. Right. But change is going to happen. And so
definitely.
The best thing, just embrace change and move with it. And so many people don't want to shift. They get caught in same old, because it's safe, right? It's familiar, it's safe, it's not scary. And it's like, no, to make shift happen, you have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to aim for something different and do something different. Otherwise, nothing's going to change. Right?
100%.
And again, you don't have to work harder. You don't have to work more hours. You don't have to do any of that stuff, but you do have to shift. You have to change how you think. You have to change how you feel, and you have to change what you're doing.
Sure. Absolutely. And there's many, many books on this, you know, the mindset and everything else that it takes to generate, you know, that type of lifestyle and income. And as we close, what I want to do is I want to give you an opportunity. We got about 4 minutes left. So take about 30 seconds and plug whatever it is that you want to plug. This is your moment to shamelessly plug your programs, products, services, anything that you want the audience to know and to do with this episode. Shamelessly plug. Go.
Okay, so what I'd love to do is give people some sort of free training that we offer. And there's a free masterclass that I ran last year, especially for wellness professionals, all about how to share, you know, find, identify, sort of pinpoint your magic, package up that magic, promote it out in the world, and create a business that wraps around your life, not a life that wraps around your business. So people can go to wellnessleadership.net/masterclass/. So that's wellnessleadership.net/masterclass/. 30 seconds.
Okay, give the website one more time just so we have it.
Yeah, it's wellnessleadership.net, NET/masterclass. And or they can connect with me on any of the social media platforms below.
Sure.
I'm always happy to answer questions and, you know, support people who, you know, are wanting to make a shift.
There you go. So what I want to do as we close the show is give the audience a takeaway. What is the one takeaway that if they listen to nothing else from this show, if they take away nothing else but right here in this moment, what is the one takeaway?
I think the one takeaway is to focus on next. And let me explain that really briefly. Often what we do is we tend to focus either on the past or the future. Right? We're either future forwarding miles out, or we're regurgitating the past of what has happened, and then we regurgitate that into the future. There's a lot of chat about focusing on the moment of now, right, and being really present. But I think it's more about focusing on the moment of next, which is what do you want to create in the next moment? What is that desire? So every moment that I'm stepping into, I'm thinking about how do I want to be in the next moment? Right? I want to be excited. I want to be inspired. I want to be happy. I want to be joyful, whatever that might be. Just focused on that next moment. What do you want to create in the next moment? Because creating something down the track happens by focusing on the next moment. Not necessarily, once you've planned, which I think is really important to do, you've got to do your planning. Once you've planned, then the key is to come back into sort of now and focus on the next moment. What do I want to create in the next moment, the next moment, the next moment, the next moment? And that will end up helping you to create exactly what you want by the end of next year.
I love it. Moment to moment. My takeaway is that create a business around your current lifestyle rather than try to mold your lifestyle to a business.
Absolutely.
Boom. Got it.
Boom.
Nailed it. Love it. Marcus, thank you so much. That literally, when you said that, my body was like, like I got chills. I was like, wow, that was huge. Say that again. My gut instinct just erupted with excitement when you said that. So that was super cool. Man, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show. And
my pleasure.
I wish you the best in 2020, my friend.
Likewise. Look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Perfect. Life Transformation Radio listeners, an amazing guest impacting the world around him. If anything resonated with our conversation today about the art of making shift happen, connect with him in Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Website is wellnessleadershipacademy.com or go to marcusbird.net. Connect with him and let him know that you heard his episode of Life Transformation Radio. And with that, I close the show by saying live your brand. find opportunities every day to live out the core values that you hold deep in your heart. And I call this living your brand. So until next episode, live a great life.